What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, since we do not have any town halls these couple of weeks, I thought I would do a kind of wrap up of 2023 and do my 5 biggest takeaways, but really the 5 biggest wins and the 5 biggest losses, in my opinion, for this past year. Now, again, I'm going to present this list. It's not in any particular order, and I'm going to speak to everything just in short detail. So hopefully I don't miss out on anything. If I do, though, I would actually love to hear from you guys what is, what you think should be on this list or shouldn't be on this list. And I know I have it with wins first, but you know what? Let's start with the bad news first. Let's go with losses first, and then we'll circle back around to the wins. So 2023 losses. Soulkeep and GLG are they're at the top of my list, both figuratively and literally, right? So Soulkeep, I think that it is the gateway drug for many people to come into the Splinterlands ecosystem. I am huge into tower defense. I really like it as a genre of games. And I was really hoping that we would have gotten Soulkeep, the beta in January of 2023, as we were originally told, and the launch of the game in May, as was told to us by the CEO of Double Coconut back in April. Again, we're sitting here at the end of December, or maybe you're watching this in early January. We still don't have Soulkeep. We still don't know when it's coming. And to me, that is probably one of the biggest losses. In equal proportion to that is GLG, and I know a lot of people don't like or kind of hate on the GLG or GLX program or GLS platform, I should say, overall. But here's the thing. Imagine a scenario in which the world looked completely different in terms of the team actually hitting their deadlines with GLG, right? Genesis League goals. The soccer game that they announced and pre-sold packs for in September of 2022, or maybe it was October of 2022. And we're hoping to get the game launched by March, which is when the season started. So March of 2023, earlier this year. I want you to imagine this, right? It's March. The team launches the game. They do all of their marketing. They have all their partnerships. MLS is doing pretty well. We're just coming off of the, I guess it was a year ago that we had the, what's that called? World Cup, right? So there's a lot of World Cup fever. People are tuning in, checking out different teams, whatever. There's a lot of interest in it. And the marketing goes a long way simply because they're working with players directly, right? So the launch of the game is actually successful. They have everything that they need. Staking GLX is a requirement from the get-go. And so therefore, GLX doesn't go to 0.3 of a penny, but maybe it stays at 30 cents or 20 cents, whatever it's at. Sure, sounds well and great for people who are, on the GLS side of things. But how does it benefit you? Why is this a loss for Splinterlands? Well, because we were only about 6 months into the airdrop, even less than that, right? Only about 5 months into the airdrop at that time. And if you can imagine what it would have done for the SPS token in terms of giving it utility, right? Indirect utility from staking SPS, you would get airdropped GLX tokens. If the price had remained higher or relatively stable because there was a working game and a working product, that would have raised the APR for staking SPS, and that could have brought a lot of people in to just check out SPS for what it was. Granted, this is all still kind of like in the middle of a bear market, right? I think that, Bitcoin had already turned at that point, but for the most part, everything else was still kind of shaky, right? Banks were failing back in March. Just keep that in mind. But ultimately, that these two, Soulkeep and GLG, were probably the biggest losses of 2023, in my opinion. And the fact is, we don't have Soulkeep. We have kind of like a bare bones version of GLG that just launched. But GLG, due to the layoffs and the splitting of the company, is no longer part of the ecosystem, and the airdrop is over. So it seems like everything is separated out. All right, now number 2 here, and again, this is not in any particular order, but the LAN 1.5 delay really killed it for a lot of people. I know that the team was working with very, very high expectations, as well as very kind of unrealistic. They even put this on their roadmaps before they stopped doing roadmaps. Very unrealistic timelines, right? Very optimistic timelines for everything that was coming out, and namely, right, LAN 1.5, which we were expecting in June, but we didn't get until the last week of November. So that really killed it for a lot of people, just because we had that expectation. And then not only that, the deadlines were missed. And then, there's just a lot of drama that went through where there were a couple of false starts, right? That really just killed it for some people, right? Now, I'm not going to go and name names. There's a lot of people who left the project between June of this year and November of this year. There's a lot of people who kind of just became disenfranchised with it. And to me, I think I take that as a loss, right? Because there are a lot of people who've been very excited, very passionate about this game, this project, this community, and it sucks to lose them. Like it just, we have to say it for what it is. It sucks to lose them, right? Because they were assets to the community, and they no longer are here or are no longer interested to the same level that they were before. Okay, so going on, DECB is going to be my next item for 2023 losses. Now, I want to be very clear. I was a proponent of DECB or DEC batteries. I thought that they would be good. I thought that they would add a lot of value to the ecosystem. And here's the thing. I was wrong, right? But conceptually, I do think DECB was an okay thing, and I'm not too upset about it. It's really the kind of like back end thing where we allowed vouchers to be burned for DECB that created DEC inflation. Now, how much did it create? I don't know. We can go back and run the numbers. It's probably $1 billion, right? Around $1 billion. And I think we only burned like 150 million of it or so, or maybe 200 million of it during the Great Burning. So there was a lot of inflation that was added there. And ultimately, yes, hindsight is 2020. So looking back, it was not a good move at the time. But keep in mind, at the time, we also thought that Land 1.5 was going to be launching in June, right? So we thought that we were just pulling things up 4 months early and that there wasn't going to be this huge lag time between June and November, that we weren't going to get any major releases that would cause people to, go and eat up the rest of the DEC or vouchers off the marketplace. So granted, again, hindsight is 2020. It wasn't the best move. It ended up being a loss. I do think conceptually it is okay as long as we don't include the vouchers there. But, with Matt talking about, having, make vouchers great again, or make vouchers scarce again, I think is what it was. I am very bullish on where, Matt is trying to put utility to all the separate different buckets or the separate different tokens. Okay, not last one, but second to last one, layoffs. We lost some great people, right? We lost some great people from the layoffs, and I know, a lot of people will feel one way or another. I'll name drop Weirdbeard, or a lot of people feel one way or another about Weirdbeard. I still think that Weirdbeard was an absolutely positive asset to the community. I think he got put into a situation that was just tough for him, was not what he signed up for, and ultimately was not put in the best position to succeed. Really is what it is, right? Now, I get it. I get to see things kind of both from inside and outside, and this is not a criticism of the company or anybody specifically, right? Like, obviously the team had to do layoffs, so things just weren't working the way that everybody was hoping that they would. So I'm not trying to point fingers and place blame. All I'm saying is that it was an unfortunate thing to lose someone who, like Weirdbeard, who had an absolute passion for the game and the community, was here at all hours of the time in Discord and on live streams and things like that. Clayboyne was another one, just to name drop. Oh, and I'm only name dropping these guys because they were, Weirdbeard's been on the show before, and then Clayboyne actually was able to find a position within the DAO, which I think is fantastic. I think he's doing a great job. And so again, losing him from the team, maybe it ended up being a net positive because now he's doing some cool things for the DAO, but ultimately it just sucks that we had to go through that and lose a lot of great people in that process. Now, related to that, the last thing that I'll have for the 2023 losses is the decreased scope. So for people who are wondering, like, I've said this publicly, right? So I'll just say it again. One of the big things that I was super excited for with Splinterlands was just the sprawling ecosystem of what it could be. All these different games and projects connected either directly in Splinterlands using the SPS and DEC tokens, or interconnected through something like GLG or GLX. That's not happening anymore, right? We had to scale everything down. The other projects that I was excited for in-game, right? So tournament overhaul, guilds overhaul, or guilds 2.0, whatever you want to call it, guild alliances, all that stuff just kind of like either went away or it's just put on an indefinite hold. And so now, right, I'm in a position where I'm just like, I feel like we're 12 to 18 months out from this kind of bull run getting a little crazy. And it makes me a little bearish on where the project is at in terms of its ability to kind of reach the highs that I was hoping that it would. Now, don't get me wrong. I have a lot of faith in Matt and the team, and I know everybody's working hard. So this is not a reflection on them. It's just the fact that, like, okay, well, you know what? I wanted this game to be freaking awesome, right? I was sold the dream of what, this game and this ecosystem could be during the next bull run, which it feels like we're around the corner from. And I no longer can see that vision happening now that we've had someone like Matt, who's, very practical and much more realistic about timelines and the scopes of projects. So again, it's like, yes, do I feel much more comfortable about where we are? Yeah, absolutely. Do I feel disappointed in the fact that we're not going to be where I thought we were? 100%. Both of those things can be true. And that's just what it is, right? So I'm still very excited for what Splinterlands is, what Splinterlands can do. I still play my battles. I'm not botting my account anymore. I still play my 24 battles a day, right? So and I'll be able to start buying energy now too, because I got my wild account down to gold. But that's an aside. So I'm still very bullish on the project overall. But the scope of what I was hoping we would be able to accomplish before the bull run, well, that's not where it used to be. In fact, it's much lower. And do I feel more comfortable? Like I said, yes, I do. But that doesn't take away the disappointment of like, man, we were really shooting for the stars. We were really shooting for the stars. Okay, let's go over to the wins now. And I know that this video is getting a little bit longer, so I'll try to run through these relatively quickly. Top one, I would say, would probably be SPS staking. This is something that came in 2 years late and was, part of the white paper as like a requirement. Well, not really a requirement, but like a soft requirement in order for people to be able to earn. And that gave immediate utility in July, right? Before any of the rest of the market stuff started happening. We saw SPS go from 1.5 to 2.5 cents. That's a 40% increase. Now, again, I don't want to get caught up on the numbers here. It was more about the sentiment. We finally saw direct utility for SPS, and it wasn't flywheel related. The flywheel is good, but I like seeing this direct utility for SPS, and hopefully we're going to get more of that with staking for Soul Keep whenever that comes out, and then staking for Land 2.0, as was just released in kind of like the white paper draft that Matt has put out. So I am very excited for that, and I think that was a great thing, and I'm very excited for additions to it. Again, direct SPS utility, not indirect through the flywheel. Hopefully we'll get more of that in 2024. Okay, the other thing, the other four things, right? So the modern bot ban, huge win, in my opinion. Huge win. The community, someone put forth a proposal, community voted, rallied around it, got it done. I know people are still going to look at modern and say, oh, it's probably, it still sucks with Battle Helper and there's probably still some bots sneaking through. Sure, you're right. But you know what? We did kill a lot of the momentum of bots. You can see it in the numbers. And ultimately, the prizes are better in modern now, right? You just win so much more SPS that the appeal is there. Is it perfect? No. And should, hopefully the team or the community be going after folks that are blatantly, abusing the system? Absolutely, right? And I know that's not the decentralized approach that the team wanted to have, but, the community came together and said, hey, we want to create a human-only space here, right? Human-only league, and this is what it is. And so for the most part, I think it has been a net positive, a huge net positive, and hopefully it continues in that way, and people don't find ways to come in and abuse it either discreetly or, in a very exploitative way. We'll see. So number 3 here, the Rebellion launch ended up being in my opinion, the thing that kickstarted the flywheel, right? Because we started to see a ton of money come in, especially from the outside, right? Fiat and other crypto that came in through credits. And we're still seeing that to this day, 3 to 4 weeks after Rebellion has been launched. And it's been a very positive thing to get this flywheel moving. Not only that, it rotated Untamed out of Modern. It made Modern much more competitive in terms of like anybody, literally anybody can be at the top now. Chaos Legion is super cheap. And if you want to spend the money on the cards for Rebellion, be one of the early adopters, you absolutely can. You don't have to, right? Like myself, but you can if you want to. So I think that the Rebellion launch has been a huge win for the team. Getting this done in 2023 was big. And, to be fair, this was, we expected some kind of new launch, right? There was the promo mini set that was talked about for a while. I don't know what elements of that would have gotten reshaped or were reshaped into Rebellion and vice versa. But ultimately, Rebellion coming in this year was probably a huge thing. If we had waited another like 6 months, or I was thinking like June of 2024, just imagine for all the people that were Class of Chaos Legion waiting for Untamed to rotate out, they would have to be waiting another 6 to 9 months, which would have been crazy, right? So at this point, I think the Rebellion launch has been a super positive thing for the ecosystem as a whole, and we've started to really see the benefits of that, the fruits of that coming in through the flywheel. Now, land 1.5 being a win, like I said, the 1.5 delays were huge losses, but land 1.5 actually launching was a win. Now, you'll look at this and say, well, was it really a win? Was it something that just needed to be done? And it's probably closer to the latter, right? It just needed to be out there in a way where we could look at the team could look at themselves and say, hey, you know what? We promised this thing and we delivered on it. There's still other things that the team has promised, which hopefully they will get to, but this gives, or at least instills, a lot of confidence within the community, and more importantly, maybe newer players coming into the ecosystem to check things out, to show that the team is resolved to go and deliver on what they said they were going to deliver. So, land 1.5, it is what it is. It's not perfect, and it's definitely not, what Matt had in mind, but it's out there now, and it stands as something to show that the team is committed to delivering what they say they're going to deliver, even if it comes late. Now, the beautiful thing about this is, if you are new to the ecosystem, then you don't know all the drama that happened in 2023. Well, maybe you're listening to this video, but you don't know all the drama that happened in 2023 and even 2022, and just the delays of land overall in general. But with land 1.5 being out now, there is something usable, something workable that's eating up DEC, that's eating up cards off the marketplace. And we have a small glimpse of 2.0 that I think gives people a lot of hope for what can happen in 2024. And keep in mind, there's still like the 1.6 that needs to happen between now and then. But either way, it's still looking good for the future. Okay, last thing. Number 5 for 2023 wins, soulbound reward cards. And I know a lot of people might be, we'll close out on something a little bit controversial here. I think that the soulbound reward cards have been a net positive. Has their rollout been perfect? No, not by any means. And, it wasn't thought through. There's still a lot of stuff that's up in the air. We don't know the unlock cost. We don't know the unlock date. There's no print amounts, right? So there's a bunch of things that are imperfect about it. But have they been a net positive for something, for the project? Yes, because I believe that it is a shift towards something that is better overall for the ecosystem, rather than the way things were done before, where, the team just printed a bunch of cards. Bots came in, right? Bot farms came in, understood that there was an opportunity to exploit the situation, and then dump cards on the marketplace. They cannot do that anymore. And so all of a sudden, this drag on the marketplace ceased to exist. Now, there's still a lot of overhang from the previous, Chaos Legion rewards cards, both the first and the second kind of sets that were released as reward cards before the Soulbound ones came in. But we didn't have a third one that went in and essentially just created a bunch more penny cards, right? Penny cards and 50-cent legendaries and whatever the case is, right? So we didn't have that drag get added in. And now the team, the community, everybody's being thoughtful on how we go about how we go about unlocking these and adding value to the ecosystem overall in the future. Now, again, I haven't thought this through. I've probably put ideas and bits and pieces of other videos and live streams, but in my opinion, what makes the Soulbound reward cards exciting, not just from the standpoint of like the unlocking costs and having that add value to the ecosystem and not dumping cards on the market, is the fact that like early on, just everybody remember Q1 of this year, I thought it was pretty exciting. When you opened up a chest and it had a bunch of the cards that you didn't have yet, you're like, oh yes, I finally got this guy to this level. So for the playing aspect of it, for the players, it was actually fun and exciting. And I think that's something that we should recapture. And one of the things that I've said in the past of like an idea is there should be, set times that cards are available. And we shouldn't put the whole set out, right? So let's say you have, I think it's like 40 something cards that are in the rewards cards. Let's say you only do 10 at a time, right? If you only do 10 at a time for 3 to 4 months, and then you go on to the next, right? And at that point in time, if people weren't here, it's almost like a battle pass, right? If people weren't here, then they don't collect those Soulbound reward cards. But at the end of those 4 months, you can go and you can unlock them. So now we have set times, we have set amounts or set costs, right? And hopefully set print rates if those are needed. But if we do that and we don't go in this, the situation where a lot of people are getting a bunch of extras now, to me, that would add a lot of value. So I think it's a net positive. It's a very positive step in the right direction. Obviously, I was saying that there's a lot that needs to be thought through and planned out for the next run of these cards. But on the whole, like I think that it was a net positive for the ecosystem, and we'll see what the team can do to kind of launch this. Hopefully, in, like I said, my idea was like in a piecemeal way to keep things fresh and exciting every 3 to 4 months of having these new cards come in and not kind of flooding the ecosystem with them, and then also creating over those 3-4 months opportunities for massive, economic benefit where people will either burn DEC or burn vouchers to unlock these cards. But okay, I've rambled on enough. This is my 5 biggest wins and losses for 2023. Like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you agree with these, if you disagree with these, I would love to know what you think should be added and what you think should be removed. But that is all I have for you guys in this video. I will catch you all in the next one. And if I don't chat with you before then, Happy New Year. Happy 2024. I hope this year is awesome for you. Catch you all in the next one. Take care.